Boy, we got a whole murderer's row of special guests tonight. All right. Uh-oh, where did we go? Where did McMurray go? There we go.
Did you guys boot me?
He's still taking off somewhere. We've got Chris from Not Today's Wargaming Show.
Howdy, folks.
We've got Ken, one of our GMs from March to Victory. We got McMurray, who's running a vacuum or something. And, of course, our guest host, Steve. So, tonight, we're going to do a follow-up about March to Victory, which is also going to lead into some of our other discussions about the hobby, hopefully, and get everybody's sort of feedback. I was going to start with this lovely sideshow that we have put together and talk about it 4 weeks ago. So we played not weekend before last. We had March to Victory, which is in greater Kansas City, we'll say. Blue Springs is a suburb of Kansas City. And we were able to find our local American Legion Hall to have it in. And so just a few slides to show you about some of the action here. This is a Saturday afternoon when things are swinging. And I think, I think I mentioned it before. We ended up for this being our first swing at this thing. We had 110 people. So this was one of the Masters of the Universe game we put together, and featuring Steve's miniatures, some of my terrain. This was like a great throw together of all the rules sort of mashed together. A little bit of Galactic Heroes, a little bit of Wasteland Warriors, a little bit of magic from the sci-fi rules, and I think we only played this once.
Yeah.
Yes, and everyone had a blast because you can't make enough Fisto jokes.
Well, and to add on to that, if you play.
Steve, we can barely hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. It might be my headphones. Can you hear me all right?
Nope.
All right, hold on.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, and this ended up. It was actually a lot of fun because we had quite a few.
Okay,
people.
can you hear me now?
Yes, we could hear you now.
All right, these headphones, sometimes they try to sync with my phone at the same time as my computer. No, I was going to say, as nerdy as it is, but it's always the best part of it. Whoever plays Prince Adam / He-Man, you start the game as Prince Adam, and when you decide to change into He-Man, you have to yell it. So I don't know who.
Yes,
I don't know who it was that was saying.
He stood up and he said, "I have the power." And I didn't ask him.
So good.
I didn't ask him to. He just did it.
Oh, see,
you got to yell it to change.
And yeah, I was running the Star Wars game nearby, and everybody, as soon as he stood up and started yelling at everybody, stopped playing the Star Wars game and turned around and looked, and it was like, oh yeah, he just turned into He-Man. It was like not a like. What in the hell's going on? It was just he turned into He-Man.
And one of the rules was you couldn't turn into He-Man as long as other miniatures on the table could see you. Only Orko and Man-at-Arms were allowed or could see him turn.
Don't forget the sorceress, bro. Don't forget the sorceress.
The sorceress too. So so that ended up being a lot of fun. If I remember correctly, once again the No, I think the good guys won this time. I was going to say, once again, the bad guys slaughtered him, but I think the good guys won this time. And like I said, very many Fisto references were made. So this was the Galactic Heroes game that Steve ran. And once again, COVID Prime. Steve, what was the I can't remember, what was the scenario on this one?
There was a gun runner that was getting ready to. He and his crew had been consistently stealing and taking equipment and weapons from the Empire, and he's been a pain in the butt to the Empire. He was getting ready to sell. Boy, those guys look so excited, don't they? He was getting ready to sell them off to some Mandalorians, and the Empire had some intel of where he was. And they were basically, it was a storm the Alamo kind of scenario where they were going to go get their stuff back.
But then they ended up not waiting for the bad guys to come in and actually left their positions and just gave them a good rogering.
Yeah, the guy that's next to me, not Marshall in the red shirt, the other guy, I can't remember his name. He was rolling, like everything he was rolling was just on fire. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. That was one that I actually got a email from a dude that said that was his favorite game, and I believe there's a gentleman here in the gray sweatshirt. Him and his son left the game and went and bought a bunch of stuff from us. So there's some of Steve's dudes. Now, somebody called this the Bad Batch, but it's technically not the Bad Batch. I think it's
it's the Scar Squadron.
There we go.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good. I switched back to headphones. They're the Scar Squadron from the comics, but I painted them with a little bit of Bad Batch esqueness.
We got Minnie Warma, Charles, and Hex here watching. So that was fun. So
hey,
this dude rolls in with the Aliens game. I got to talk to him for a while. Hey, Reese is listening too.
Hey, what's up, Reese?
Not R.J. Reese, but Reese Crawford. This ended up being a kick-ass game.
Yeah, that was cool.
With the I don't know if it played in it if any of you guys played in it, but just watching the whole place burn down was pretty awesome.
Our Reese played in it, and he said he loved it.
Good. I believe that it's just a 3-dimensional version of a board game, correct?
It was. It was.
I think we have that game at home unopened.
Well, time to crack it open.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Storming of Tantive 4 that these dorks put on.
And again, I want to point out on that picture, that's not Doug yawning. He's shoveling food in his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These games are very exciting.
They're thinking man's games.
Yes, thinking that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was one of the games that Chris ran. And then we had Ken ran the reason why we got Ken here was because he ran this gigantic.
It looked beautiful.
What was it, 12-foot long table of looking at. There's Sean from Lincoln, probably complaining about something.
Clarifying, he wasn't complaining. Actually, he didn't complain at all.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
There's our Reese.
Yes, our Reese
Next to him in the Colorado hat.
Yeah. Bill.
My brother played in that game. He said he had a lot of fun with it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I've been working on it for a long time, armies and terrain, and finally putting the rules down and play testing them. So it's really just how do I get all the things I love about mass combat together from all these different rule sets we've played over the last 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's just experimentation and buckets of dice and.
It looked beautiful.
It did.
Thank you.
So just tell me this wasn't on your external drive that you just lost.
Well, yeah.
Oh God!
But I have paper copies. You see there, and I have a placeholder from about a month and a half ago. So it's not terrible, but it ain't good.
Yeah. So backstory: Ken told us today that the external drive that he had that had not only just a shit ton of STLs, but the last 2.5 years of our D&D campaign on. So you've got a week.
Well, it's going to be hard to go back in that cave, I'll tell you, and reflesh it out, but we'll get there. Show must go on.
Yes. So, oof. But yeah, there were, I can't even tell you how many men. And then the biggest part of this is the fact that Ken has about 3 times as much as the troops that were on here. So mostly Demon World and stuff like that. Then here's Ken's other game that he ran, which was Wasteland Warriors. This is all handmade terrain. This is not, there's no STLs here. This is all handcrafted. So
Looked amazing.
yeah.
The pictures don't do it justice.
I call this one Take the Shot.
And I'm sure they didn't.
So I did not hear about this game. So describe it.
So we've been playing Wasteland Warriors as a setup for the gangs own a corner or a block, and that's their home block. And this is kind of no man's land in the middle where they all meet. And then it's trying to get loot. It's trying to survive. It's trying to kill the other gangers and take their stuff. So we've got a bigger setup than this one we can do, but this is the sort of easiest, best way to get 6 players on the table is this configuration right now.
Yeah, and it works great. We've played it a bunch of times. We had the vault in the center, and we got to somehow figure out how to play the next game in the series we've been doing, where a bunch of our guys made it into the vault. And I think it should be a cooperative game against something.
It's going to happen. Yes.
Yeah, it's something worse that's down there. So, yeah, it was a great one. Reese Crawford said it has Stalingrad vibes, and yes, it does. So it was very cool. This was a American Revolution game that I did not get to play or get to watch because I was too busy running games. So
same here.
I didn't get to actually play. So.
I didn't even know this one was there.
Yeah, I'm like, where?
Yeah. See, there's Greg got there. There's Greg, and then Phil and Ted. So there were people playing in it. They just kind of set it up. Everybody played, and then they were gone. It was like in and out like ninjas. So I didn't get to.
Cool.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll be back.
Yeah.
I will say this. So far, and for the folks watching at home, every table was just beautiful.
Well,
every game looked
as someone
great.
said on Lead Adventure Forum today, every table was a gym. So that went on the front of the new and improved website. So if you go to marchofvictory.net right now, Robin worked all day updating it, putting pictures on it. It's got the new date for next year on it, the countdown, so ready to go. Chris is his Battle of Endor game here. How'd that one go, Chris?
It went really well. The thing that really made a difference on this one, because I've played this one several times in a convention setting, is McMurray's Ewoks that he let me borrow.
The way
wait a minute.
Stuck them on there.
Yeah, that's what he told me. He was going around telling everybody, I'm going to hide these guys on the table. And
he did.
And they're going to pop it. But
he put them on there. He was going to use them. And then I just randomly stuck them on there instead of giving them to him and letting them do whatever the hell they wanted. They just got deployed.
So what happened is whenever a stormtrooper would move to where they were in contact with the base of the tree, the actual CD, if there was an Ewok hiding in the bushes there, he would come out and immediately do hand-to-hand out of card order. Didn't matter. He just jumped them.
I love it.
Yeah. So for our Fistful of Lead fans playing at home, what kind of skills did you give those Ewoks?
Actually, I didn't.
They're D12s.
I didn't get, they were D10s, and actually I didn't get a chance to kit them out. I didn't give them any skills yet. I just said, what? They're rolling with close combat weapons, so they win ties.
Oh man, they got to be ferocious killers.
Yeah.
Brawler.
Yeah.
I believe cannibal. We'll have to make up one for that.
Yeah,
They do
cannibal.
have glowing red eyes, so they're evil.
Reese said that it was a blast. And then he said every game was well done. I believe that too. And that's it was set up to be sort of inspirational. Speaking of hiding things, to go back for a second to the Wasteland Warriors games, Ken's youngest hid the loot on this table, and it was hid.
It was well hidden.
Hidden worse than any video game you've ever played. So, and then we get to McMurray's made up on the fly, relatively short while ago, Bigger Battles, Victorian sci-fi game. Which
That looked great.
everyone that I talked to said they had a blast. And you ran that twice, McMurray?
3 times.
3 times. So
I ran it 2 extras.
we did a bunch of stuff on the fly. So there were several games that were only supposed to play 1 session and ended up going like 2 or 3. So like Ken went to go run another game and his son ran a game for him, Wasteland Warriors. And then we had McMurray running 3. I think he was only signed up for 1. But how did the rules come about there, McMurray?
Well, to be honest with you, we were trying to figure out how to. We played around with some rules where you could shoot down the airships. But then every now and then you get a lucky hit, and you just down an airship really quickly. Which in a convention setting, I'd prefer everybody just shot the ever-loving Jesus out of each other, so they kept each other entertained for a while.
Yeah.
But so basically we played bigger battles. Each of the gun crews or boarding parties and the captains on the ships had their own actions. But the ships themselves moved in a separate phase at the start of the turn. So that all got out of the way. So it wasn't confusing or anything like that. We pulled cards for them. Yeah, so it just helped with getting that hassle done with and over with before it came to actually, okay, now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of Fistful of Lead. I think I only had 2 or 3 people that ever really played Fistful of Lead before.
So
They caught on.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. First one is I think that game absolutely shows again the versatility of the rule set. Just the ability. Look at the variety of things that you've seen, and just how many ways you can just use a system to represent a way to play a game, and then just make it your own. Right? I think that's just elegance itself in a rule system. And then the second thing, McMurray, is this a way for us to get into fantasy naval, big ship stuff where it's mostly boarding? It's less about broadsides, but it's more about, fantasy naval fighting each other,
Absolutely. This works really well for colonial gunboats as well.
Pirates?
So if you're thinking like Sudan
pirates,
stuff,
yeah.
Smells like Flash Gordon to me.
Yeah. And we could absolutely do pirates. I'm a tall ships nerd, so we'd have to add some sort of wind, but that wouldn't be difficult. Again, the secret is to take care of all that stuff in its own phase.
Yeah.
At the start, so that you're not holding up play to say, well, I'm going to move like this and then like this and like it's no okay.
And then you said you gave the ship's cards too?
Yeah, so that's how we determined the order of movement.
Okay.
Right, was everybody got 1 card for each vessel they had. So the three little skinny guys that look like skiffs.
Yeah.
That player actually got 3 cards, so that was kind of their tactical advantage.
Interesting.
So they could
show that they were quicker and not more nimble.
I've been dying to do 28 millimeter fantasy naval for a very long time. If this allows me to get in,
oh yeah,
because I don't want to play a naval battle. You know,
Yeah, that's
I
for
want
sure.
fantasy people fighting each other over different terrain. So
absolutely, that would absolutely work.
Dwarven ironclads versus elfy wispy ships. and
yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Big
then
human ones with cannons all over them.
Yeah.
this
Speaking
would
of
do
cannons
this-
all over them, this was
that was well. Hold on. That was originally just 1 session, and it ended up 3.
yeah.
It was supposed to
So
be.
would that-
just
would you-
Friday night. What's up?
Is that considered an encore session?
I don't know. I thought we were done after. So again, I played it Friday night, and I had a bunch of people come up and ask me, "Hey, are we playing this tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, I'll ask Jay, but I would imagine we can figure something out." And then
Well, you asked me, and then I asked Robin, and then she made it happen. So
that's fair, yeah, because she's the smart one. That's fair. I'm just kidding. But so
I'm not offended.
then Saturday morning, I showed up, and by like 8:30, there were already a couple guys, ready to rock. And then by 8:45, I had a full game. We started early, and then I still had a few for the second session on Saturday that wanted to play. I harangued a couple other people into playing to fill out the table, and
Well, and McMurray and I told McMurray that if my table for my fantasy was supposed to be where he was at, and I said if I come over here at noon when I need to set up my thing and your stuff's not off, so I'm just tipping these tables over.
flip all of them. I told him that they fly. I don't care. They float. Good luck, buddy. They're Liftwood.
But I just said, hey, let's keep this thing set up because people keep wanting to play. And he's like, yeah, keep running it. So that was the other great thing is we just made it work. We just moved around. And so I just set up in the middle and it was great. It didn't matter. And that kind of flexibility is important with a con like this. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Hex to Hex said if McMurray would write down every interesting game idea that he comes up with, he could have some awesome plays for eternity.
Christ, Hex, don't start.
Yeah.
I'd actually play all those games. Hex to hex.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's going to be wearing dinosaur helmets and having to chase Hitler and
Yeah. We didn't get any pictures of that. This was one of our historical one was Battle of Mobile Bay, and then he set it up and played it, and then they were gone. I was like, okay, so, but
he did rub the side of his nose and he went up the chimney after he was done playing, but I don't know what that means. But
yeah, this was the Battlesuit Alpha game that we did. I ran this 4 times, so
yeah, you did.
Yeah, and I didn't even get a chance to play it, and I wanted to.
yeah.
No.
Well, Thursday night, baby.
I know.
So, yeah, it ended up being a lot of fun. One of the mechs, the pilot's call sign, Speed Bump, he fared well in almost every game. Yeah, and almost every game was a pretty one-sided affair, but it wasn't always the same side, so that was kind of cool. And, of course, Chris, McMurray, put your diapers on because I'm showing some clucky pictures. After your last show, we were like, oh, my God, we're going to have to get Clucky an escort for whenever he shows up at cons now.
Yeah.
I have yet to play in a Chris Clucky game.
Oh, he's an awful GM.
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
No, Chris got to play. I know you played the one with the prisoner, this one, and it did not go well.
The plan was beautiful. I had it all set. But as usual, my dice betrayed me like the bitches they are. All I had to do was run my 2 First Nation characters across the river. The guy here on the left with the pointing the rifle out. All I had to do, that was Steven, all I had to do was kill him. He was there by himself. That's all I had to do.
So he played 2 different rule sets with this.
Yeah,
for 2
he
different
did
games.
he did one with horse and musket, and which was smaller scale skirmish, and then he did a bigger one using muskets and mohawks. Is that what he 2-hour war games?
Yeah.
Chris, which one? Not Jay. Which one were you? Which one were you?
I
in?
played the Fistful of Lead game.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was kill Steven because the corporal was down and wounded. I would have been able to go over and kick his ass, and it was 2 of my guys against the one guy with the rifle, the private there, and I got him knocked down, but while he was down, he still kicked my ass. And I had 2 guys there because my dice suck.
Never attack someone on the ground.
Yeah, that's the cardinal rule. You hit somebody while they're down, you're gonna get your ass kicked.
That's like never get in a vehicle. It's the same. It's the same tier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this picture is the muskets and mohawks one. So you can tell by
It's
the
just so pretty.
amount of figures that he had.
So well
Originally,
done.
he was going to do a bigger battles, but he didn't feel confident in it. So anyway, oh look at this!
And he has Jesus. Chris always has people standing around waiting for him to play while he's putting the table together.
Yep, which takes forever. So yeah, this ugly SOB.
God damn.
Did Marshall ran this one, right?
This was the fantasy one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there's the bugbears cleaning house.
I was the bugbears.
Yeah, you had to come over and say Brian was back.
That was the only. I think that was the only game I got to play in. I think.
Yeah, because you ran the Victorian.
I ran
Speaking of which, there it is.
sci-fi, or not sci-fi.
Man, that Chaos Mage just loves that tower.
He does love that tower. Yeah, so you got to play the Tales of Horror one here. So
No, I ran that one.
well, I mean, you ran it, and that's when you came over like 3 turns into it and said, "So what happens if all the vampires are dead?"
Yeah.
Like then the game's over, and you got
that's it.
you got the most victory points, I guess.
Chris Copeland was playing that, and he was the Bobbies, and he had his sheet of objectives that just by doing nothing, everything was achieved. And he leaned over and he whispered, he's like, I've never taken a shot at anybody. Nobody's attacked me, but do I still win this? And I looked over at his objectives. I go, yeah, you won. It's turn 3. Yeah, the vampires immediately went after the werewolves, and they just completely wiped. I'm like, guys, there's like a game here, right? So just
We got Victoria.
Well, it's the opposite of what happened to me the last time I played the game.
Yeah, like Marshall's friend was playing the werewolves.
I think Marshall's lady friend, and I was like, I think Marshall's preoccupied. Regardless.
And then that old boy with the vampires just started attacking her right away. And so then Marshall, he's always like, hey, she don't want to play anymore. Do you want to jump in? Yeah, I'll kick the shit out of a kid. That's fine. So then I
I'll kill a kid.
You came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you came in, the damage was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Last
you're
time Kid
basically
played this, he left the room and didn't come back.
I went out in the yard, sat in a chair, and drank.
I remember that. I was playing that game too.
Yes.
Yeah, I was the vampires on that game.
Yes. You destroyed the werewolves in a turn and a half.
This game was another one that I wish I got more pics of. It was the Vietnam game that Battleground came and put on. So they were the guys that did the Battleground World War II, and they've made a Vietnam version. So I also didn't talk to anybody who played in it, but there were people there. So
yeah, they had a ton of people.
Great terrain.
Yeah, a lot of great compliments about the way the game looked.
Yeah. And just so you know, it's not for old men. We had some youngsters there. This kid Gage. He not only won, he also did well on Chris's game. He also cleaned up on ended up winning the joust tournament on Sunday.
And there you saw him taking a young child taking candy from a stranger.
Yes. So Sunday we just did because Sundays are usually pretty weak at a convention. It's the vendors just want to clean up and get home. So we did a tournament. We originally had 2, but it ended up just having time for 1 because we kind of wanted to be done by noon. And it was great because people came out and hung out and really got to just kind of have last minute gab fest with the people who were left. And we just all hung out and played Mr. Foss's Breaking Lances, which is always fun to play.
Who won?
Gage, the kid here, Chad's son.
He won the tournament. Huh?
He won the tournament, and it was down to 2 kids at the end. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was McMurray and a kid. Same thing.
It's essentially, yeah, 2 mental children at the same time.
Yes.
So he's better at sophisticated rock, paper, scissors then, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Please, McMurray, tell me you were wearing that dinosaur hat
No.
when you were playing in the tournament.
I wasn't even signed up, and then Jay's like, "Hey, I need somebody to be a buy," and I won, and
Yeah.
then I just kept winning.
We had
It's like-
somebody that was signed up at the show, so he filled in. So
Yeah.
we had 16 players, and they all fought down to 1, so we had our own little Final Four. And then, of course, none of this would be possible without the lady in charge, the master of ceremonies, the
Hostess with the mostest.
hostess with the mostest. So
Ayatollah of rock and roll.
yeah, she made everything work and got the whole thing put together. So
Which, Baron, that leads me to our this week's mailbag.
hold on. Where's my mailbag? I believe this is
It's got to be just you two.
what?
Oh, are we ready? Are we ready?
Sure.
All right, this is this week's mailbag, and I believe this mailbag this week is straight from the con. Here we go. Dear March to Victory organizers, the guy, not the bossy woman. Congratulations on your effort. I commend you on your adequate convention. Here are a list of things I would do different. Blah, 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 blah.
Which
Give
we
me a
won't cover
fucking
at this
break.
phase. But to paraphrase, so there we put out a survey on where we can improve and where we needed help at, and we some of the feedback, better lighting in the auction area. But then how can you thieve if if there's better lighting? The auction slips could be smaller, and
So you don't see me thieving.
yes, but really most of the feedback was pretty positive. I had multiple people came up to me and said, "You're doing this again next year, right?" And lots of, "Hey, I was inspired to. I'm going to go back and I want to run a game next year, and I want to have the same level of table and stuff." And that was kind of where we went when we were thinking about the whole thing, is we wanted people to walk in and say, "Wow, this may be small, but there's some quality stuff here." And one of the
That's what she said.
I get that a lot, yeah.
I had one guy had said on the feedback that we should have less games because a lot of the games have sat there during the convention.
That's dumb.
but how cool did they look?
Yeah.
Well,
How
here's
cool
the
are
thing.
the games that aren't there.
Why would you want to pay? Why would you want to pay, money to come into a convention and not be able to play anything and stand around and watch? Which, I guess, to each his own. But I mean, there was never the most you had of people not playing the game was maybe 2 tables.
And I'd rather have an empty table that looks good than have a bunch of empty, space.
Table with nothing
Right.
on it.
But those games got played.
Walking in and seeing an empty place, to me, is just like, I paid how much to get in here?
And I can't do anything.
Yeah. So
Which is
our philosophy from the beginning was to make it look good, make it feel like you were a quality establishment. So I don't know.
Didn't you say that there was a lot of? It looked like it'd been written by the same person in the suggestion box, and it was all suggestions to play for me to host a game with no shirt on.
Yeah, and it was the writing was very childish looking, and accidentally he signed one of it accidentally McMurray. I think he messed up. Accidentally signed his name.
Scratched out.
Yeah.
And then it says not, scratched out, and then it says not Jay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've already got, like I mentioned, listed for next year's dates. I know Steve's already got his plan to line up for next year, and very ambitious. I believe there was a Masters of the Universe with vehicles.
Yes.
There was The Thing table.
Yes.
There was a
Terror
Tusken
Island.
Raider attack on a settlers. So basically a Cowboys and Indians scenario, but with Tuscans and
Yes.
and I can't remember what the fourth one was, but
Terror Island.
Terror Island. There you go. So a nice pulp one with all kinds of weird crap. And I know Chris is going to return with an entire Tantive 5 ship or Tantive 4 ship.
Yep.
Every possible formation.
With bathrooms
in there and everything.
Yeah, I'm watching all the Star Wars movies over and over again. Well, I would do that anyway, but research. Yeah. So when Donna walks in, why are you watching Star Wars again? Research.
Why are you?
Wait a minute. Why should she even be asking that?
No, she normally just sits down and watches with me. So
yeah,
there you go. That's why you got married to her.
Well, our second date was a Star Wars movie, so I had to make sure.
Real quick before the comments spiral out of control, Chuck and Brian, you guys can have tacos and tamales. Sorry, that was about to get ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If y'all show up,
we'll
think about it. Otherwise,
well,
yes,
it'll be chilly today and then hot tamale.
The food was incredible.
Warm up. The food was next level. So we made enough from the silent auction that we were able to actually give the caterers an extra bonus because they did such a great job. So
outstanding.
And the ability to have a bar too was nice. So as much as the facilities weren't let's say 5-star, they were adequate, and I think that Ken had pointed out that we should keep booking it until we're bursting at the seams. We had 110 people. The place will hold 250. We could definitely get more tables in there, and
friends.
Yeah, and there were a couple other places we could expand into with a little elbow grease, helping them clean up, and the guys at the Legion were glad to have us. So
yeah, they were great.
They did all the setup and cleanup and so it really ran smoothly thanks to that, and of course Robin's thinking of everything, but then also all of our volunteers who, Roger is a friggin' machine. That guy, he was emptying all the trash and running errands and
He works like he rolls the dice.
yes. And then we had the guys manning the silent auction and stuff. So that was extremely helpful.
And there was great stuff in there. There was
Yep.
really great
Yep.
stuff in that silent auction.
Yep. Yeah. We're definitely taking one of the hotels we had listed off of there because I know that one of the guys, when they went in their room, there were like pills and goldfish on the floor, spilled out on the floor.
Wait, the food goldfish or the fish goldfish?
Yeah. So I was like, well, it was $50 a night, so I don't know what you're expecting. And he was like, no, I know. So
I bet I know what hotels it was.
yep. It's right down the street.
Yep.
They came to the next day's games itching.
Yeah. Yeah. I only got poked by a needle twice while I was rolling around in my bed. So
Gross.
yeah, Mormont said we'll have very comfortable stay in KC, no chalk lines or cigarette burns on the thing. Well, it's all about what you're willing to pay for, buddy.
Yeah, and if you sleep in the parking lot, the Legion does not have plug-in.
Yes. Yep. We won't go into that, but McMurray, you
No, we won't.
parking lot apparently.
But I will say this.
I'm just gonna camp like I used to camp everywhere that I went. It's easier that way.
And we know what that leads to. There wasn't because they had a bar there. There was a signature cocktail that came out of the convention that hopefully will be there next year, and it was known as and christened the Poop Deck Pappy.
Yeah. Bacardi and ginger ale with a couple limes. The Poop Deck Pappy. Which I'm doing a variation of tonight with some bourbon rather than
And if you ever want to know how she got her name, you'll have to ask Ken, myself, and Jay at next year's con. So you'll have to actually come there to find out. It's worth it.
It's worth the start.
Yeah, and speaking of next year's con, so first I want to hear what Ken's plans are for next year's con.
Well, I was just looking that up because we were so excited after we finished about all the things we wanted to do. So the generals have floated the idea of a group game that we would all paint towards. So that's pretty fun. Now, whether that'll actually happen or not.
Oh, I'm doing it if I have to do it myself.
Hey,
Right. And there's
the problem with
it's
that
just like
is,
a normal generals game, right?
Yeah.
the problem with that is if your Reese does any painting of miniatures, you're not going to get to play with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no! Yeah, Reese. Reese has got museum quality miniatures that
He
are
has
hidden better
committed
than
that we could play with them if he paints them for the game. So
Okay.
So hopefully we get that together. I'm gonna break out my my 28 millimeter Samurai. So I'll add some fantasy elements to that, and we'll play a game with that. I'm thinking I'm going to do a Peninsular Horse and Musket game skirmish with the Spanish, the British, and the French, and some civilians. And then I'll bring 15 millimeter fantasy because it's probably, this is one of those places I'll get to play big table with.
And
that's
perhaps
it.
the rules will be finalized by then.
Yeah, hopefully, for sure. So that's just where I'm at right now. And it's going to push me to do some painting. So that's what I'm thinking at this point, at least.
So I was going to do some test prints for the group game, and then of course that's when my LCD screen got destroyed. So yeah, so just think of the cover of Rogue Trader, and that's what we're thinking about doing. So you're familiar with that.
We need, and this is a call for entries. I know whether Jay, it was you that said this, or whether it came from the suggestions, was that more historicals.
Yep.
I'm working on that now.
It'd be nice to see a WW2 game there, whether it's a weird World War II,
Todd.
whether it's a Todd, a game with supers. There you go.
You know, I was about to say, I'm thinking next year I'm going to bring nothing but historicals.
No, Chris, a war game.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get Johnny to put on a moderns game too.
Yeah, check that out.
Look, he's going to have terrain floating in the middle of his blue mat.
This is actually Savo
What
Island,
Right now,
I'm
it's
3D
unpainted.
right?
Right
I still
now,
got
it looks like
49
that.
friggin' weeks, buddy. COVID Prime didn't grow in a day.
No, it did not.
True. Yes.
Savo Island.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
I
think
haven't-
somebody say, Chris, I think it was on your broadcast that somebody was going to bring World War II air. Is that right?
Well,
Yeah.
Reese said he would run a 54 millimeter Solomon Island game.
Yep. Yeah, actually, we've been talking. Reese and I talked about it briefly at the con. You know, have my naval game directly affect what his Marines versus Japanese game has.
Yeah,
So if the Japanese win, they get extras. If the Americans win, the Marines get whatevers.
All right, fine. Jeff, I'll bring Stukas and tanks. You got to come now. Congratulations.
Yep. Start
Very good.
driving.
So,
Load up that
not
truck
Jay
and
is
move to
the
Beverly.
not Jay is the rest of your crew coming out next year. Meaning Warmutt and Wardrobe and Hexy and
Yeah. Well, Warmut has already said that he's going to be here.
Yeah, his wife wants to go, so he'll be here.
Yeah, and his wife wants to come out also. So we got that going for us. We got to convince Hexy to come out. And if I have to have a game where Stukas are dropping bombs on tanks, then to get you out here, then that's what we'll do, Jeff. And I think Wardrobe is already looking to make sure that he's got that weekend off.
I'd rather have Stormovics and have a nice Russian Air Force against tanks sort of thing.
I'm already like now I'm already sweating it because it's like I'm looking at all the shit I've got to paint. It's like, okay, I've got a year.
Hey,
But
Warmutt,
my thing
there's something called planes. You don't have to drive 1,200 miles.
You like driving. Yeah, okay, fine, Jeff. Print out some of those 2 millimeters that I sent you, and we'll do it. I was just telling these guys I printed out enough 2 millimeter ACW to play any scenario that is currently out for Altar of Freedom. So
Isn't that really just using chits?
Exactly what I said.
it looks I like the look of it better than 6 mil when you're trying to simulate really big formations.
So you spray paint it green, and then you dry brush blue over the top, or dry brush gray.
Yep.
Lame.
You got the drizzling. It's the drizzling chits.
Oh, jeez.
What? Hey, that's my job is the Ed McMahon part.
There you go.
That's what people got. That's what people said about those 16000 ships when I was printing those off too. And look at what Chris has done with those.
I can't see them.
Jeez,
No. Miniature gaming.
yeah,
You can't get much miniature than this.
that's the point.
Name a Bill sex tape.
Miniature.
So let me ask you this to bear on. What were you surprised about the most that went well the most?
That we actually had the amount of people that we did, and that we actually, because we had no clue if we were going to lose our ass on this, because we fronted the money for the convention, which was no big deal because we wanted it to happen, and just from the ticket sales and from the stuff like, and the t-shirts and all that stuff, we were able to break even. So that was, I mean, we thought it was going to be we had planned 2 years from now, we would be breaking even. We thought we would take a loss the first 2 years. So that part was great. And just the quality of stuff that came out too, I think, well, it wasn't surprising. I knew everybody was going to put on good stuff, but all the positive feedback and everything was bigger than I thought it would be.
It was real chill too.
Yeah. So, and just
Really
the
laid back.
positivity of the whole thing. So there were, we were able to, I think, because we were running lean and mean, like to Ken's point, we were able to kind of roll with it and be able to move stuff around and, make this table is now table 9 and this one's table 12. And we were able to just, cater to the players that wanted to play stuff and when they wanted to play it. So next year, I don't know if we'll have that kind of flexibility because everyone's like, I'm coming back and I'm bringing somebody else. And I'm like, I hope that happens. So we're just hoping we get, more vendors that people want. And, who knows? I haven't checked to see if Adepticon, what weekend they're on next year, because they kind of move around. So I know we lost a few people and some vendors because of that, but not enormous amounts of people that could come. But
This was just a different vibe, though. I mean,
oh yeah, I mean it's night and day. You either want to go to that size convention. I mean, we went to Gen Con how many years ago, Ken? It's like 3 now.
3 now, yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, and that's a totally different experience than going to a smaller convention. It's you're going to Adepticon, you're either playing in a big tournament or something like that. The thing that gets me about the big conventions like that is you're not saving any money. No one's running any deals. It's all stuff that's going for retail, and you've already paid $70 to get in, and then it's literally everything you can just buy on Amazon. So I guess you're just paying to get it all in and not having it shipped. I don't.
It's the fever of it. It's the
like
fever.
we ran a ton of deals for the convention, like big discounts and stuff like that. And I know Steve there were a couple guys from his game that literally left the Galactic Heroes game and came over and bought stuff. So stuff like that.
Yeah. After the
Warriors too.
Yeah.
After the Star Wars game, I would say 5 out of the 6 people, and that person that did not was your son.
Yeah.
Everybody went up and bought something.
Cheapskate.
Yeah.
Little bastard.
Yeah. So next year we'll be running our Basement Generals collaborative game, and then whatever else new we got out. I have some ideas because by then I'll probably have. Well, I know I'll have because Battlesuit Alpha is going to come out this year, and then I've got Glorious Adventures in the Age of Steam. So that'll be the Victorian sci-fi supplement for Galactic Heroes. And but between now and then, we may have a fall convention, may not. Who knows? Depending on what happens with recruits. Probably not this year because it's too hard to pull off. And then, but we're gonna have some fundraisers. So we're gonna have a May the 4th, which will actually be on the 7th. We're gonna do a Star Wars fundraiser at the house where we'll have 3 games going simultaneously. That'll be a Bigger Battles game, a Galactic Heroes skirmish game, and a Starfighters game that will all be interlinked, that literally will be happening at the same time in the world. So the smaller Galactic Heroes game will be a boarding action on a satellite that's providing a force field down to the planet that's protecting a base there. That'll be the Bigger Battles will be attacking. So the boarding party has to shut that thing down for ultimately the guys on the Bigger Battles table to be able to take the fort. Then the Starfighters game, there'll be waves of ships coming in that are trying to bring reinforcements to the boarding party. So we'll have landing ships that will be escorted by fighters to try to land. Meanwhile, the Empire is trying to stop them from landing. But both sides can also detail some of their ships to make strafing runs in the bigger battle. So they'll all be interconnected. What happens on one will be affecting what happens on the other one. So that's going to be.
I want to be on the Starfighter side.
There you go. And then we'll have another one in the fall, and then we'll have one right around Christmas time. I'm setting up a snowball tournament, and I'm going to have like 6 different tables that'll all, of course, be snow. And everyone will make their own teams. And then I'm going to have like a table that's all like ice shards. And this one's like a Christmas town. And this one's like an old burned out snowy village. And so each one will have like a theme to it. It really doesn't affect on the game, but it's just better than just having them all kind of look the same. So,
And I do have all the STLs for the Hoth troopers and the rebels.
with the snowballs, yeah, from
Snowballs, throwing snowballs. Yeah.
Oh,
perfect.
wait, what?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they can have a snowball fight too.
Nice.
So we've got that. So we'll be sending out invites for that. So if you're in the greater Kansas City area and want to be a part of that, let us know. We've got a pretty big crew. We got guys that come down from Nebraska that play and came last time, and some other people.
Are those guys coming back for the Star Wars game?
Yes, he already said so, or they already said so. So we might get an extra
Sweet.
couple of them. So
Not Jay, you coming?
Is the Bear in the Woods Catholic?
I don't know, but I know he shits there.
Often.
Yeah, I'll be there. Of course, I'll be
What
there.
about you, McMurray? I need to
Star
know.
Wars.
McMurray, I need to know if you're coming, whether I'm wearing a shirt or not. I guess.
Yeah, McMurray's got a wedding that weekend. Unfortunately.
Oh,
Priorities.
who's the lucky gal, McMurray?
My buddy's fiance. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, I thought you were getting married.
No, fuck no. No. Nobody's that dumb. So yeah, no, I'll be. I mean, as always, doing my best to make it to any of them. Like, if you guys are still gaming on Thursdays, I intend to make a Thursday game at some point in time here.
Yep, it's just every other Thursday now for wargaming, and then every other Thursday is D&D. We hope, unless Ken's crushed so bad that he can't ever run a game again.
No, I got the big map, so I'm okay. That may have been the final straw, but I think I'm okay.
The one you just made that's super nice and detailed.
Yes.
Yeah, if
Nice
you
finish.
lost that, I would just throw in your computer in the trash and said it's all over. We're
stupid.
So you do realize that you aren't backed up unless it's in 3 different locations, and
I've
one of
got
those
it.
locations is off-site.
I had 3 locations on site, but I didn't back up from the week before the convention till Monday. And the week before the convention, I spent a lot of time, every other waking hour, doing stuff. So
yeah.
yeah.
He spends a lot of time putting every last detail into a scenario, and then we as adventurers go in a different direction.
Yeah.
So then
Especially-
he has to then turn
Especially me
around
and Doug.
and make up all the shit for the place that we're going to that he didn't think we were going to go to. So
But the one I ruined like what, 7 pages of stuff you'd written.
One time, yeah. That's all right. I got to work on my improv too, so that's no big deal.
that's the life of the DM, man. They don't
Yeah.
always do what you want them to do.
That's right. I embrace it. It is a sandbox.
It's hard out there for a pen.
It is hard out there for a pet. Uh-oh. Yep. So we're right at an hour. So any this is where we call in for comments from the yahoos watching, and then any other final thoughts from the crew.
I think it was a a wonderful weekend. It did exactly what I needed it to do, which is it had all the feelings and trappings of a well run convention that had been in place for many years. It felt like that this convention had been going forever.
I put that on squarely on my wife, who ran the city market for a decade and is used to putting on big events. So she's got big dreams on where it could go, and we've talked about this too. Is the problem is once we do get to a point that it's bigger than the facility can hold, then all of a sudden you make this jump to a place that's exponentially more expensive just to get a little bit bigger. Then you start talking about hotels or event spaces or things like that, and then your price goes up a lot. And one of the things we wanted was to make this affordable. We didn't want to make a $50, $60 convention,
Hell no.
So
you made it great.
That's going to be a hurdle in a couple of years. Ken came up with some great ideas about alternate places to have conventions at, like big empty retail places, which we have plenty around us. Right around Halloween time, you get those big Halloween shops that pop up, and that kind of stuff, doing that kind of thing. But then you don't have anybody setting up. You don't have, there's a lot of other stuff that comes with that too. But that's all stuff we got to work out, hopefully down the road.
I think it was a steal of a place to be able to accommodate everything that had to happen there, and then the bonus of having the kitchen and having the bar. I thought it was great, and having the mezzanine so you could run the auction in a way you needed to run the auction.
Yeah, and have it be away from everything else.
Yeah,
and control the flow of people. That ended up being perfect too. So,
for me, it really, you know how much time I spend on D&D campaign stuff we do, and it really gave me a chance to refocus on minigaming again, which was great. And I can't wait till next year. It's going to be fun, no doubt.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I walked in Saturday morning. I woke up late. My alarm clock didn't go off, but I walked in at 9 o'clock, and the place was already popping. By lunchtime, I was like, man, he's going to have a pretty good crew here. And for the most part, 99.9% of everybody there was super cool. You'll always have that 1% of douchebags that are questionable type of person, thief, cheat, and stealer. But it was great. It was great.
Yeah. You're always going to get this war game attracts. This hobby attracts, introverts and weirdos, just like anything else. So you get some that are hygiene challenged or just socially challenged and stuff like that. But I think the nice thing about the setting that we had was the fact that you could bring people in, because you get some people, that you could tell that they want to play, but they're not social interacting. You can bring them in and, you can get them to play. And we had kids there. We had people that were new. We had a couple people that literally had never played like a war game before. So that was nice. And, just there were people that came that never played. All they did was they went there for the silent auction. Okay. That's your vibe. Then that's what you want to do. And that's great. So, all we can do is just keep growing and try to keep the same philosophy. I had more than a couple people say that it was inspiring for them to do their own thing and to come back
Good.
next year and either put on a game or inspire them to work on their own terrain or their own painting or whatever, seeing the quality of stuff there. I mean, there was not a shitty looking game there.
No,
So
there was not.
That's a testament to the people who are putting on the game. So, and
And I was just going to say, and people were super respectful too, because sometimes you get people that play games that for the most part, I think people were super respectful that don't respect the time and the effort that's gone into the hobby and painting miniatures, putting the game together, and just, you know, whether they're just treating the stuff that you've painted like shit, or, you know, it was just, you didn't have to. It's like, oh, I don't want anybody to touch this stuff. And for the most part, everything was great.
Hexy says we should video on the premiere tables and stream. That was something we wanted to do, but maybe next year I can do more with mine. I know Chris got a chance to stream one of his. The only problems you run into is just the whole background noise thing, but then also, like for me, I ran every session. I ran a thing, so there wasn't a whole lot of downtime to set up everything and do it. Next year, there's a stage set up, so we are going to try to have Chris, his brother Jay, who does the Veteran Wargamer podcast, maybe Todd do one, and actually set up like a broadcast booth up there, and so they can kind of do their own stream. It'd be great to have somebody that was kind of man on the street, walking around, you know, talking to people, or, you know, doing some like side interviews. Hey, how do you feel about that? You know, that kind of stuff would be great to do.
Yeah, because most of our crew being basement generals, nobody could do it, because we're all either running games or doing the silent auction or doing this. It just didn't have a lot of time to do that, or the manpower to do it.
Yeah, we were full up. That's for sure.
Yeah. Reese was Crawford was asking about the weirdo in the cowboy hat that looked like a baby, and I'm like, yeah, that guy. I don't know.
Was Reese Crawford?
I was more.
And then there's that guy with the dinosaur hat too. So
yeah, I was going to say I was more concerned with the guy in the glasses writing stuff in the ballot box over there with the creepy.
That was a dinosaur to me. I thought that was a dinosaur, but that was just from all the way across the con where I was standing watching the dinosaur stuff things in there. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. But that's how I saw that happen. I don't know. I blame Chris, to be honest with you.
All right.
What did I do?
Put on a dinosaur hat and
Well, there's that.
stuff things
But
into a ballot, into a suggestion box.
You made me put that dinosaur hat on.
But
Everybody
kudos, Baron, for a great convention. You guys,
Absolutely.
I just wouldn't put on games. I just put on games. I didn't do shit. Robin made the website. She set up the whole thing and, you know, basically ran it.
After it was over, was Mama happy?
Mama was very happy, but she's just now decompressing from it and letting it sink in. So, you know, it was, you got that kind of time where you got to sit, where it finally kind of comes back and I try to forward all the good emails and stuff for her to give her some reinforcement. So there was a nice post on Lead Adventure Forum today about the guy that had played and had some really good feedback. So I send her all that stuff so she can hear it. So just to make her, but yeah, she felt really good about it, and
You did a great job. So again, please pass that on.
yeah, Warmite, you're not getting crap. So anyway, all right, guys, I think we covered it pretty good. We'll come up with something cool for next time. And glad everybody could stop by and say hello. Make sure you go to the website, marchtogvictory.net. We've updated it with video and pictures from the convention, and make sure you go there and mark your calendar for next year. Until then, we'll see you.